I just wanted to take a minute and point out some important notes within the syllabus before we get started with school this year. So I'm not going to read this word for word because obviously a lot of it is going to pertain to in-person class, but I wanted to hit on some important things before we get going. So first, my contact information is at the top. I check my email often, so that's going to be the best way to get in touch with me if you need something right away. You're also going to have that remind option. So by using remind, you can send me a remind message from your phone. I'll get an email and I'll be able to check that right away. But you'll also be able to call me at the school if you need me on Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. And the school phone number is there. So obviously we're starting school virtually. Your classwork is going to be housed in Google Classroom. You're also going to have assignments on Albert.io and probably on Khan Academy as well. So just be prepared for that. Keep that in mind. I'll let you read the course description yourself. If you go down to grading system, it's your standard grading system. So any kind of daily work, classwork, participation type assignments are going to be 20% of your grade, whereas tests, quizzes, exams, projects, papers, things of that nature are going to make up a bigger chunk of your grade. Now, under homework policy, it says that the recommendation is to read and study for 30 minutes a day. So under the class information tab on Google Classroom, you'll see a recommended study materials, and there are a few different books posted there that would be good options if you wanted to get one of those study materials. Any of the three would be really good. I would definitely recommend them right now since you're starting virtually as a reference if you needed it for your work, and then for the exam to read through and study things that we've talked about earlier in the year. So scrolling on down, for turning in assignments, just as usual, make sure that your first and last name and the date and your class period are at the top of your assignment, just like you would if you were turning in a paper assignment. All assignments are going to have a due date, and in order to receive full credit, so that means if an assignment is worth 20 points, in order to get that full 20 points, you're going to have to turn it in on time. So before uploading, all digital assignments should be labeled with the student's last name and the name of the assignment. So if you have to create your own document to turn something in, and it's not just a copy of an assignment, you need to make sure that it is labeled with your last name and the assignment. All assignments should be double-spaced using 12-point font, Times New Roman, black ink, and that is just to make things easier to read and grade. Scrolling on down to deadlines. So you're expected to complete all classwork, homework, and other assignments in a timely manner. This is a college level class, considered to be a college level class, so you're going to want to turn in all of that homework and classwork on time. It is going to be pretty fast paced, so you're going to want to make sure to get everything turned in and stay ahead. Assignments posted in Google Classroom are always going to have a due date, and I will set that due date to be whatever day, and it will always close at 11:59 p.m. that evening. Remember, assignments turned in past that point are automatically going to be marked late in Google Classroom. So even if you turn it in a day later, I'm still going to be able to see that you turned it in late, and you might not get full credit for that assignment. You should expect vocabulary for every unit and will be given ample time to complete. Vocab is so important for this class. There are so many different terms, and in order to be successful on both the multiple choice portion of the exam and the written portion of the exam, you have to know the vocabulary. So you're going to have vocabulary for every unit, and I'm going to explain how that's going to be done in another video, but you're going to have to turn that vocab in, and you're going to have to turn it in on time, or you're going to lose credit for it. So for every day that the vocab is late, it's going to drop 2 points, okay? So no putting vocab off and not turning it in. You've got to have the vocab, and that's why I'm going to stress the importance of getting your vocab done and getting it turned in on time. So for every unit you're going to have vocab. I'm going to give you at least a week to get it done and get it turned in. I'm not going to give you 20 vocab words and expect you to have it done the next day, but you got to get it done. You got to get it turned in on time. For every day that a major assignment, so like a paper, if you have some kind of essay that you have to write, or some sort of project, like if you got to do a PowerPoint project is late, it'll drop 2 points until turned in. And this is just because, again, this is a college level class. when you're given these bigger assignments, you need to get them done and get them turned in on time. That's going to be the expectation. And again, I'm not going to say, hey, here's this big project, get it done in a day. I'm going to give you ample time to do it. And if you are not going to be able to get it done and get it done on time, and you know that ahead of time, let me know. I will work with you with an extension. We'll get it all worked out, but you got to let me know ahead of time, okay? Retakes. So if you earn a D or lower on a quiz or exam, I'm going to give you that opportunity to ask for a retake. You have to come to me and say, hey, Miss Collis, I didn't do really good on this exam. I'd like a chance to take it again. And I will give you one opportunity to retake an exam. So you just have to come to me and ask, and we'll work that out. I did include in here a note from the PCHS parent letter that was sent home regarding virtual school. And this is where it's just highlighting the difference in NTI work and the work that we're going to be doing in virtual school this fall. So it's not going to just be based on participation and you get credit for participating. This is going to be regular school, just in an online format. So you're going to be given assignments and you're going to be graded for your performance on those assignments. It's not just going to be participation. And I want to make sure that you all are aware of this. Okay, so you are going to have assignments that you have to do, and you are going to have to complete them and complete them to the best of your ability in order to get that credit. So make sure that you are aware of that. And scrolling down again, because a lot of this, again, pertains to in-person class. One thing to note here, especially in an online setting, plagiarism is not going to be tolerated and you're going to get a 0. So if you go into some website and you just copy and paste a whole chunk of information for a paper or something else that you have to do, you're going to get a 0, because I'm going to be able to tell that you didn't do what you're supposed to do. Common sense tells you shouldn't do that, okay? And then the last thing that I'll just highlight real quick is the course outline. So this is a tentative pace about the units and how they'll be broken down. So we're going to start with the foundations of American democracy. So this is where we're going to talk about the Constitution. We're going to talk about federalism and the relationship between states and the national government. Then we'll go on to the branches of government. We'll talk about Congress. We'll talk about the president and the bureaucracy, and then the judiciary. Then we'll get into civil liberties and civil rights. That's a really cool unit. Then we will talk about American political ideologies, so the political parties, kind of what they believe. And then we will talk about political participation, so elections, campaigns, political parties, interest groups, the media. I will try to include assignments of some sort that have to do with current events. Obviously, there's a lot taking place in the world right now that we can discuss, so I want to try to tie in things that are happening right now with the different units that we're going to be discussing. And then I just put a star here. Students should expect readings. You are going to have readings and questions to go along with those readings every week. Again, you will have ample time to complete that work. A vocabulary quiz. So obviously I'm giving you those vocabulary words that you have to do with every unit. So you will have a quiz. And then practice free response questions. So part of the AP exam is those open-ended questions. So you're going to have to be prepared to answer those and know the difference in those. So you're going to have free response questions with every unit. And then again, I will use Our IO frequently. So if you have any kind of questions, please reach out to me. This is just a highlight of some of the things to expect in the course. And again, you can always reach me by email. I check my email often.